Hello, welcome to my New World Garden of Genesis guide. I'm not really a PvE player, I'm more of a PvP player, so I'm not really used to making guides in regards to PvE content for the most part. But no one else has made a guide for this dungeon, so I guess I'll do it for YouTube for the people who want one, because I definitely was looking for one. Now, this dungeon isn't really that hard, but there are some things that you probably will want to know if you're like me and you just want to get the darn thing done. If you don't want, if you don't care about spoilers for a dungeon. So let's get into it. First thing is this place is for angry earth. These mobs are angry earth mobs, so that means they are weak to fire and slash damage. So if you got a fire staff main, you're gonna do a lot of damage here. Slash damage, great axe, etc., etc. But they are also resistant to lightning, which you can only get through gems right now, unless they add a lightning weapon. And they are also resistant to thrust. So rapiers, bows, you're gonna probably have a little bit of trouble here. So this dungeon is a pretty cool looking dungeon, but I really like the aesthetics here. But I'm gonna go over the first mini boss because this is the only thing I think that you need to be explained to you in this dungeon is the bosses. The rest of it is pretty self-explanatory. So the first mini boss is called the caretaker. The caretaker will be pretty straightforward. He has a random attack like that he shoots out and causes a lot of damage. So make sure you pay attention. He can randomly select someone. He doesn't have to stick on the tank to use it like he just did right there. So make sure you're always watching him so you don't get hit by that. It does a lot of damage. Uh, his next mechanic that you want to know about is when he walks to the center of the screen. When he walks to the center of the stage, like so, he will summon a little arena. And in this arena, you can't go in once you've been set out. You either have to decide to go in or go out. So when you're on the outside, he's going to summon these little mobs. And you basically just want to kill those mobs. And then his arena will open back up and you go back in. Now this is what the inside of the arena looks like. The inside of the arena, you basically just have to survive his onslaught of stuff. You can still DPS him, but survival is the most important thing. What I recommend is having the healer stay outside and one DPS to kill the mobs, and so the healer can heal inside and outside with their abilities. So it doesn't matter, and then the tank could just stay inside. And that's really all you have to do, and just dodge his stuff. And you want to have one DPS inside to make sure you continue the damage for him. And then that's pretty much it. He does do this little swarm thing here where he sends out these homing bugs. Just watch out for them. They do quite a bit of damage, so just stay away from them. And then he goes underwater and jumps over. Sometimes not really that big of a deal. It's pretty obvious. His hardest hitting ability is this right here where he summons a skull thing. It does like 2 waves, so just make sure you don't get hit by that because it can really mess you up. So, and that's it for the first mini boss. After you've defeated the mini boss, you'll get rewarded with the chest, of course, and you'll have to use your Azov staff to light a flame. Once you've lit that flame, you have to walk to open up 2 passageways over here, and you don't have to worry about any mobs that respawn in this room as long as you walk along this wall like my friend is doing. Now once you've opened up the first corridor, you have an option to put down the Azov staff and help DPS, or you can have the person who had the Azov staff holds on to it until we get to the second corridor. If your party has low DPS, you probably want them to put it down so that they can help DPS the mobs, but if you have high DPS, then they can just continue to carry it until you reach the next section of the dungeon, where you will be clearing out these mobs here, and there will be a big boss or mini boss thing in the back that you just clear out. And once you clear them out, there will be a passageway to open up, and that passageway will lead to the second to last room of the dungeon. Make sure the person who carries the flame goes and plants it on this fire thing right here to lit the flame, and then all you have to do is AoE these mobs. AoE range AoE these mobs, and then the door will open up and you'll be on your way to the final boss. Now the final boss in this dungeon is pretty fun. I think it's a pretty fair and challenging boss fight. There are some mechanics you have to watch out for, but it's nothing too crazy. The first thing I want to say is do not, and I repeat, do not take this boss face on. If you are not a tank, even if you are a tank, you'll probably die. So the first thing you want to look out for are these poison balls that just showed up on the screen. Definitely want to not get hit by those. And she'll leave a poison little bubble on the ground. It's really hard to see. If you step in it, you take a lot of damage. Like I just got hit by her melee right there. Don't get hit by her melee. The next thing you want to pay attention to is when she sends out a laser beam. She's going to send out a laser beam that will target one player, and that player has to go as far away from everyone else as possible because there will be a puddle of poison on them as well. But she's also going to throw a boulder at that player, and that boulder is what you're going to have to use when you see the ground turn green. Now, you see the ground is green here. Everyone has to go behind these boulders. If you don't, it's a one-shot KO. So make sure you go behind the boulders to survive the one shot. And that's pretty much it, really. If you just do those things, you should be good to go on this boss fight. Just make sure you pay attention to getting hit, and yeah, you'll be fine. This dungeon drops some pretty decent loot. Nothing too crazy, but it's definitely a dungeon I'd say is worth doing. So whenever you guys get a chance to check out Garden of Genesis, I definitely recommend it. There's the laser I was talking about, so just make sure you get out of the way, but you want to be in the middle of the screen when the boulders fall. Like right there, you see the boulder is all the way over there. You can't really use that boulder. You want the boulder to be something that you can use to protect your team with. But it's pretty forgiving on the boulder thing. As long as you're like somewhat behind it, you'll be okay. But that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's not the best guide ever, but it's the best one on YouTube right now, so I win. See you.